Hi, Ben from Actionstep here. In this video, we'll be discussing how to add a step tree to your workflow. The step tree is what we use to order the steps in our workflow. Once our step tree is created, our steps are viewable in the workflow ribbon on the Matter Overview screen. Our step tree allows us to progress through our workflow in the appropriate order. To access the step tree configuration, we'll go to Admin, Workflow, Action Type. Let's select the litigation action type that we created in a previous video, and then select the Step Tree tab from the left panel. Before we connect steps together, let's quickly cover nodes in more detail and how these relate to steps. Steps can be reused several times throughout a step tree. For this reason, we use a generic term for each position in the step tree and call them nodes. While there are many nodes in a step tree, there are two special kinds of nodes that you should be aware of. First, let's look at root nodes. Every step tree has a root node, also known as the initial step. There can be only one root node in a step tree. Following the root node, you will see one or more branches. A branch is a path that a workflow can follow. A step tree with a lot of optional alternate steps is said to have multiple branches, and each of these positions in the step tree are called nodes. The last node at the very end of a branch is called a leaf node. Once a matter reaches a leaf node, the user will be given the option to close the matter. You can also configure your step trees to automatically close on a leaf node. Now that we understand nodes, let's create our step tree. To add our first node, we'll select Start, Add Node, Initial Inquiry, Submit. After Initial Inquiry, let's add Conflict Check. If the conflict check passes, we move to Engagement. From Engagement, we will move to Information Gathering. After Information Gathering, we will move to Pretrial. Then we'll move to Post-Trial. From post-trial, we can move to wrap-up. Moving on from wrap-up, we can close the matter. Now we have our basic step tree for our workflow ribbon within the matter. Keep in mind that we can add some decision points to some of these steps. For example, let's say after the conflict check, we run into a conflict. We can add a node and select conflict. From this point, you can either go to the conflict or engagement step. At the engagement step, we may decide that we do not want to engage, so we'll add a node and select Do Not Engage. Following the information gathering step, we may want to go to mediation, so let's add mediation. Following mediation, we may just want to wrap up and close, so we will go ahead and add those nodes in. Now, let's say after mediation, we decide that we will go to trial. What we will do here is jump back to pre-trial. To do that, add in a jump step after mediation and select Jump to Pre-trial. We can also make a step less visible to the users. So let's take the conflict check node and change the weighting to a negative number, so that by default it will not show on the workflow ribbon. Let's say you would like to make the mediation step a default choice over pretrial. We will change the node for mediation to a positive number. In this case, we will choose 10. Mediation will now be a default over pretrial. Now to give pretrial a lower ranking under mediation, we will change the node weighing to 5. And that is how you create a step tree. Thanks for watching.